The centre position in NRL Fantasy is becoming more and more relevant every single year. You've even got a couple of players now eclipsing that 50 mark, which was basically unheard of for anyone without an 11 or 12 on their back in the real game. We've got guys like Herbie Farnworth and Dane Gagai eclipsing that number, and Lomax hitting that 50 last year, and shows that there is time and space for these guys in your team. But the question is going to be at which stage of the season. And in this video, guys, we won't have Dylan Lucas, Beau Fermor, or guys like Burbo, who are going to be playing in the back row. I did go through them in the Edge video. So the Edge guns for Lucas and Fermor, and the Edge cheapies in Burbo. So go and check that one out. But you will see guys like Jack Howarth in the mid-range video, which will be good fun as well. So in our center guns today, we do have Farnworth, Gagai, Lomax, Val Holmes, Kiraz, Iro, we have Ramian, Garrick, we have Best, we have Graham, Meaney, and Cobbo to finish off this one. And if you haven't subscribed or hit follow on YouTube and the podcast as well, guys, please go ahead and do that. Continuing to look to grow the podcast this year, which hasn't been as much of a thing. So super consistent on that as well. Thanks, guys, for jumping in, checking that out, and throwing on the notification bell. With Mr. Farnworth, he's going to be a really fun pick, and I had him in that little team I put together with upside guys, as guys will be fun to watch. Farnworth, he fits that bill. And the price reaction is wow, because 55 average is pretty crazy. But his role, he's the best attacking weapon in that side. And you saw last year, he was absolutely outstanding from round 12. And we saw a massive leap from him moving from the Broncos to the Finns. And this was his first year being in that 50 territory. And that is something to be concerned about for sure, because he hasn't done this before. He went from 47 up to the 55, which definitely makes me a little bit worried of the chances of a repeat. But from halfway through the season towards the end of the season, he was absolutely crazy. Picking up, he had 110, he had 290. So he has so much upside, it's not even funny. And when you look at his try scoring rate, it was 0.4, which was less than the Broncos. So that in itself has potential for room for improvement. He had 170 meters, 5.3 tackle breaks, and 2.3 offloads. And the big jump this year was the whole one offload jump there of 4 points, which is very, very impressive. As I said, he has terrific upside with those big scores. So if you do jump on the right time, he's going to be perfect for you. And he doesn't play Origin. I think for me with Farnworth, I'm going to be on high alert for when the time is right. I think he's easy to start with as one of your guns. Like, some people are going for Latrell. Other people could go for Farnworth, for sure. Yes, he doesn't have the goal kicking and the kicking in general play that someone like Latrell does, but he has every other attacking weapon that is perfect for fantasy, with tackle breaks, with higher run meters, that type of stuff there. It looks like he's going to be on the right-hand side this year, which should be with Isaiah Katoa if things work out, and Asako. So could be a fun one there for sure. And I don't know how it'll affect him too much, given it's just give him the ball and he'll do his thing. But Farnworth will be an interesting pick at some point. And for me, I'm going to wait and watch with him. For Dane Gagai, 691k, it's a 51.8 average for him. Definitely some upside, percentage chance, and some downside there for sure. And I've got him at 46 to 51, with Farnworth at a 50 to 55 to kick things off. It's just hard for centers to really dominate in the early season, and that's why you saw Farnworth go nuts. And Gagai is he's probably more consistent than anyone in this game, with anywhere in the back five basically. So with Gags, he's done this for years now. I am personally expecting this to be his last year of being a top tier center, but it could change quick. At 34, it could go downhill quick. It could stay where it is. But you look at guys like LeBron James at 40, still hitting, putting up triple doubles. It's very impressive. So we won't count these guys out until it changes, but just be on alert for those type of players. It's another player to have a look at when the time is right, in my opinion, with someone like Gags at this price point. If they keep going right to him and Sharp, I do expect a really good season again, because they were very dominant, and Sharp was getting plenty of good footy in that back end, and try assists and the like could be massive. And we saw that with Dom Young, and we saw that with Sharp in that back end last year. And his try scoring rate is never very high anyway, so it's not like he hits close to a try a game, and it's hard to sustain. For Lomax, at 668k, he's got the dual with the wing fullback as well, which we know is a tough position, and I'm keen to go through that one for sure. I've just finished the whole of the centres, and I've just done Latrell, and we're moving on to Teddy now in between doing these videos. So thanks so much for watching these. There's plenty of work that's going into it in the preseason. It's probably the most work that I do put in through the year, apart from just actual hours in videos during the season. But yeah, so I do appreciate you guys watching and commenting and all the good stuff there. All right, for Lomax, it's pretty fair, I think. It's a new team. I don't really like the move to potentially at centre for him on this one, so I don't think you could regret not owning. Just doesn't have the crazy upside that you'll see from a Farnworth, and the consistency of high scores and years of doing it that Gagai has. Because he's a perennial 43 average guy at centre. He definitely stepped up last year on the wing, and he was just better in general for sure, which is something to note. But moving to the Eels, I do expect him to go close to the 50 average, even at centre. Just with his improvement in play, looks like he's going to keep the goal kicking. Eels centres like Penasini, they seem to go well, and Lomax is better than Penasini. With Moses there, Penasini is a 46 guy, which we'll get into a little bit later with Penn. And if he's on the right wing, I think things get real and he can be 50 to 55 for sure. But at centre, I'm expecting 45 to 50. And another guy that I think you can just look at later. Eels have to play well for him to get those extra goals and get the extra attacking plays. And if they do, he can be near that 50, 55. If they don't, then I think he's going to go under and probably not too important at this stage of the season. And he obviously has Origin as well. But Val Holmes is next up at 652k. Price reaction is fair for him. I do expect him to go under where he scored last year, and it's based on the fact of it's a new team. It's not as exciting. It was his highest averaging year. He's usually between that sort of 46 to 43 type range. So I'm personally not expecting better at the Dragons next to a Flanagan instead of a Dearden. And Gutho has less flair and attacking ounce, whatever the word is, than Drinky as well. We'll roll with that. So yeah, just not someone I'm super excited about in a new team to kick off the year with different combinations needing to be made. Look later. Karaz, 641k with the wing fullback dual is really nice, and he's the guy that I started with last year, but he was almost 100k cheaper at this buying power and pricing power there. I don't think he has a chance to go into the 50s, but for me with him, it was the upsetting news that he's still dealing with his back issue that he was going into last season with, and he's in doubt from round one like he was last year. So it's the same stuff, and if that wasn't the case, I was actually thinking that he could easily go 50 plus. I'd be more bullish on that in a team that is likely to improve as well. I thought that, he dealt with that all year, and if he could get away from that, and he also had a better average on the wing at 51.2, and that is taking out his 89 score, which he had early on at centre as well, where he dominated the Titans, I believe. So yeah, there would be a realm where he could outdo that, and it'd be hard for him to make Origin with the dual, loving the dogs. There was lots of good things to look at with him. And just that back issue, it just goes, maybe he's just going to be similar, 48 to 50 type of range in that one. But he finally broke out next to Crichton and played most of the year, which was great. Out of all these guys, he'd be the one I'd be interested in to start with the most, him and Farnworth. And if you're a Dogs fan, I think it's fun. But is he going to be right for round one? And there's just a few too many question marks to pay that price compared to paying $540 or something like that. For Kale Iro, 619k is where he's at, a 46.4 average. It's pretty solid last year in his first year for sure. He's really important for team, in my opinion. So do we see the try increases incoming? Potentially. We'll get through that in a sec, but definitely some upside. I have him at 45 to 50 to kick off the season. They do play the Panthers round one, which is going to be fun, but I do think Iro can be a 50 plus centre. He doesn't miss many tackles. He was 2 per game in his first season last year. He had 163 run meters and 5 tackle breaks, which is stock standard. Lovely base there at 26. He only had a 0.3 try scoring rate. We probably have another top 4 team in the Sharkies this year, and AFB comes over and attacking wise on that left hand side with someone like Trindle. with his growth last year and Ronnie outside to help finish his assists, I definitely think that there's not much downside, and he could easily get to that 50 range just with the way that he plays. It's very Gagai-like, and he's so much younger, and it's just really that, from Penrith. There was a game last year he scored 26 against during the season, then he scored 16 in the final, in one of the finals games there. So it is round 1 though, and things can be different. It's Vegas, all the good stuff. And do you want to start with him there, or do you wait till maybe you can get to, if you can sneak him at a 40 average, if he happened to got down there, or 42, under 600k, then you could go for an awesome run. There's a few things to think about with how you can go about it with Kaliro. And the position's really interesting in general too. If you're thinking about the guns, the value, and the cheapies, there's a fair few guys at the cheaper range, but are they all going to get the spot? You're thinking Toya, Jackson Purdue, these types of guys. You got Isaiah Tass, who we'll speak about, Tamale, who both those guys, if they're wing, will get that jewel as well. So plenty of stuff to think about with the whole position. And do you want to spend up at a gun? When you've got guys like Fermor and Lucas, who are edge guys as well, that you could plug in. So lots to think about. Jesse Ramian comes in next at 585k, 43.8 is the average. For him, I'm expecting him to just be fairly similar, to be fair, with how it works out. There's no real reason that we should expect more from Ramian, with the left side being more important. It was his best season since 2021. I haven't looked into it too much. This is what I was saying at the time. I haven't looked into it too much, but is there any reason he only played 80 minutes once in the last 6 games, all 65 minutes? So I got curious. I ended up looking anyway. He had 2 sin bins, 2 HIAs, and Siffer came on with 8 minutes left for the last one. So I don't think I looked at the other one, but and one of them was 80 minutes. So that 5 games is a pretty crazy stretch of games where they were all in the 60s to 72 or something like that. But it was because of those things. So that was pretty interesting stat. Ruben Garrick, all right, he's a big one on the list for me personally, and owned him over the years, a lot last year as well, across Supercoach and in fantasy, and he did a really good job at centre, in amongst the HIAs, which is the big question. But let's look at his averages, because he's down at 43.7, and I'm expecting him to go 44 to 49 in the first 5 games. And they have a really nice run of games, plenty at home as well. I think 5 of the first 6 at Four Pines, where he's the goal kicker, and if the team plays well, we know that they do play well when Turbo's fit, and it looks like he is fit and firing. Garrick has the last 3 season averages of 45, 46, and 53. You have a 2022/23. It had a lot of fullback games there for sure. The question's going to be, does this mean he scores better at centre than wing, given his averages are solid, apart from that 2021 season where he had the 53 with Turbo going nuts and the goal kicking, and he was scoring plenty of tries on the wing, obviously. With him at centre, it's a nice base now of 8 from goals, 12 from tackles, and 14 on the running side. So there's 34 before anything else, which is nice. This jump in the base there, plus the head knocks. Sorry, this jump in what he can average is the worry, obviously, and the head knocks is the concern, because he had a 49.8 average in his first season at centre there, which is good. He's sitting at close to just a tick over 6 points of value there if he just doesn't get hit in the head, which is pretty ideal. If he does get hit in the head, you obviously get that low game, but he's down at that 43.7 and has the duel, and there's not a lot of downside on that front. But he had 3 head knocks last year before 30 minutes, which hurts, but it helps his price, obviously. The extra tackle numbers does help his slightly less running, but even at times his wing numbers were down near 100 meters and stuff. So the DPP with a lovely opening draw. I think he's all going well. He's a guy you can own for all year if you start with him with no origin. Fun one. Bradman Best. I saw Mr. Casual Athlete come out and say that Best could be the guy that wins you this league, which with the stats that I'm having a look at, I find that a little bit interesting to say the least, to be fair. With he's a soft tissue injury man. Sounds like he's learning to listen to his body. Speaking to Kempy, that was nice. He knew he shouldn't have played that game after Origin and did. He wanted to back up with the boys, how it is, and got injured. So he won't be doing that again. So that's something to note, that if he does make Origin, I wouldn't expect any backup games for sure, but he does have a 48 injury last year in non-injury games. So, 4.4 points of value there. 42.6 and 35 are his 2 previous seasons non-injury, decent, good minute games, basically. So this average last year was better than the 2 previous, and I think he's a little bit better, but that much better? I think it's hard to start with. Obviously the upside is there with a 99 and 109 upside, but when this is the highest he's ever averaged in a season, yes, it was really high last year in non-injury games, but he has 99 and 109, but he also has 30s and 20s and 40s and low 40s and stuff like that offsets the massive scores, and he's never done these types of scores before. Can we expect it to happen again? Are the Knights going to be good from the start? The time to be fair, the time to own best, I think if he stays similar to what he's done over the last 3 years on average, would be in the first few games with their slightly easier draw, but they also have started slowly in the previous years and then improved as the season went on. So that's where you could expect some slower scores to start. So again, even the best time of the year in terms of draw probably isn't with how they play. Unless they can come out hot and they look good in the trial, I'm just personally not seeing it from a Bradman best who hasn't done it before and doesn't have the clear attributes of base and everything like an Euro does to get to that 50 average. Campbell Graham. He's priced at 43, which is absolutely mental in my opinion. Given he had a 44 average in 2023, a 43.6 average in 2022, they've priced him exactly where he was before this really long-term injury, this sternum that's absolutely plagued him since 2023. So personally, he's hard to take coming back from a bad sternum injury. He's a fun player to watch. He's really, really good footy player, but racing with the clock for round 1 also. I'm not sure if there was a thing that came out saying that he was sweet and then things saying that he wasn't. I think we're getting mixed up with Cams in Cam Graham and Cam Murray as well. Looks like Cam Murray's likely fine, but Cam Graham isn't. So there's a bit to think about with Mr. Graham. I think you watch him to start. He hasn't got a tremendous looking upside. Nothing really 70 plus, which you kind of want from a guy if you're going to pick them at the start at basically full freight. So that's Campbell Graham. Nick Meaney at 550k for him. He's got the wing fullback duel. It's just no real big upside with the goal kicking even for him, which is tough. Stops him from being a 45 plus guy. 0.2 try scoring rate is gross in a team that was that good. It does leave room for improvement, but he isn't a focal point. Even with the DPP in the goals, it is a no from me. And then Selwyn Cobbo to finish things off. A little bit more interesting than Meaney with that wing fullback duel, but at centre, he just doesn't make tackles. So he may as well go back to the wing and potentially get some more try scoring opportunities and get some more running out of trouble. But the team was very poor also. The team needs to go well, I think, for him to really improve. And given he had 2 games on the wing last year and they got spanked in in one of them. Sorry, 2 games on the wing they got beat, and the one they won, he got a 52, but the other 2 he was very poor in the 20s. And he's still only a 42.6 average on the wing in 2023. He definitely hasn't exploded yet though, with how we expect and how we hope we should see Cobbo at one stage in his career. I just think it's too big of a punt, in my opinion, to jump on someone like Selwyn. So that is the centre guns video, guys. If you're looking at my center rankings and strategy, if you want all that, I'm going through all of that as we speak, especially once I get through all of the positions. In the private group, you'll have where I'm looking at in my team for how many players in each position, dual position guys, all that good stuff. You'll see my team reveal, which I sort of just put a little bit out in a short effort I did last night. We've got plenty of prizes in the private group, all the help you can get from myself and everyone in there. And it's just fun talking fantasy on game day with legends that aren't going to put you down and be mean to you basically. So get in there. All the info's in the description. Make sure you do check out the podcast. Check out the YouTube stuff. Hit the notification bell and you're all legends. Thanks so much for being here.